front of the Geauga County Courthouse here in Chardon, Ohio. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the history of this courthouse. It has two judges here. One's name is Judge Burt. Another judge's name is Judge David Fuhry. Judge David Fuhry is actually a retired judge that's came out of retirement to double dip the system. He presided over a case called Ohio versus John Mark Andrews, case number 12C34. And what this case actually concerned of was in April 2nd, 2012, a drunken convict ran into the Chardon Police Department after the Chardon shootings inside the school. Chardon Police responded to Court Street, found out there was no shooting going on, but they decided it wasn't going to stop there. So while this individual was gone, when he returned home, the Geauga County Sheriff's Department and Chardon Police were waiting on this street, dragged him from his vehicle, beat him within an inch of his life, and they took him to jail. While he was in jail, Lieutenant Duncan, Troy Duncan, and Sally Harmasak from the Chardon Police Department erased all of the video along with Daniel McClennan, who is the sheriff of Geauga County Sheriff's Department, and John Hiscox, erased all of the video of federal civil rights violations. So what ended up happening was, while this individual was in jail, John Mark Andrews, Chardon Police met with the alleged victim, the drunken convict, and says, hey, where are the weapons at? So they didn't know where the weapons were. So while he was in jail, this drunken convict went into the house, gave the weapons to the police. The police responded to Chardon Metal, and what ended up happening was they planted the weapons at Chardon Metal. This ended up going to jury trial. While the jury trial was going on, and it wasn't going the way the prosecutors wanted, based upon the fact there was a telephone recording of Congressman David Joyce, who at the time was the prosecutor of the Geauga County Prosecutor's Office. Troy Duncan from the Chardon Police was telling David Joyce, hey, we got this AK-47. He pointed it at his thing. Turns out there never was an AK-47. And so David Joyce says, well, you need to try to charge him this way, and if we can't get him, we'll make up something else. So what happens was, this played for the jury. The jury saw through it. It was a hung jury. And then finally, a couple months later, on November 22nd, there was a second jury trial on the John Mark Andrews case. And in this case, the individual was found not guilty, based upon the fact that the victim perjured themselves. Now, the problem with this case, and why I bring it to your attention about how corrupt this entire system is, and this whole courthouse is, it's a guilty plea court. Okay? Like many other courts throughout the state of Ohio, you have no rights. You have no right to discovery. The truth of the matter means nothing. Police officers are not going to come to court to testify against other police officers. And, you know, citizens should be doing the same thing. If somebody kills a cop and I'm a witness, I don't want to be involved. Just let the cop killer go. This is the kind of justice system we have in Ohio, where police think they're above the law and they can do anything they want. Eventually, this particular case ended up making it to the U.S. District Court in front of Solomon Oliver. Solomon Oliver is a federal court judge. He was in charge of the John Mark Andrews case versus James Flace. By this time, David Joyce became a congressman, and you know, the corruption can go from here to join the ranks in Washington with the rest of the treasonous bastards in Washington. He's done nothing. You know, all these congressmen like David Joyce do is look for a free meal ticket. They're washed up in these little towns around Ohio. And in any case, they went there, and the law firms called Timothy, Reed, Justin, Eddie, Jacqueline from Mansur, Gravin, LPA in the North Tower on Lakeside Avenue in Cleveland, and then these other proxy law firms called James Popson, Daniel Lester, and Suter O'Connell in the Ear Review Tower. They represent police. They specialize in making up excuses and what's going on. So what they did is they denied the fact that these police officers took a man's weapons out of a house that had nothing to do with the crime, compound bows, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, shotguns. They says, we never took anything. We don't have your property. And as a matter of fact, you have no property rights. We took your stuff. So the U.S. District Court judge, not knowing exactly what happened, obtained a copy of the transcripts and two different versions of a police report made by the Chardon Police and the Geauga County Sheriff's Department. On one piece of paper, it has the type of weapon they want that would be convenient with the crime, and then on another one that was suppressed, they had a listing of all the property that they didn't want the jury to find out about. The problem was, when the trial took place, the police officers, under oath, I swear to God, uphold the Constitution and all that, you know how police officers do. They got on the stand. They couldn't explain why there was two different versions of the police report. They also couldn't explain why they were talking on the telephone to David Joyce on how to charge somebody, and that they're going to talk to the judge in the morning to get him on a bond. This case is now on appeal in the federal courts based upon the fact that the United States Supreme Court says, and the U.S. Constitution says, that an individual shall not be deprived of property without due process of law. Okay? Now, if a citizen was to go to a police officer's house and somebody was to give somebody all the police officer's weapons, and you said, what happened to the weapons? You would be charged with not only that, but investigated by the ATF concerning weapons. Chardon Police can come to your house. They can take any weapons that you want. Same thing with the Geauga County Sheriff's Department. We hear things going on out west where there's military. Jade Helm is going on. They're doing military exercises where police just randomly go into people's houses without a warrant. They're using the U.S. military. We have family members in the U.S. military that's doing these types of things, and it's got to end. And you people need to become involved. You need to appear in the court instead of walking the malls, watching football. You need to come inside this courthouse that sits lifeless for days at a time. These hallways sit lifeless, but yet taxpayers and everybody comes here and waives all of their rights. So all I'm telling you is remember this: the people are coming. They're starting to wake up. Your good old boy crowd is going to be washed up out of Chardon here. Chardon is expanding. You have a different types of people here and culture there. People are sharing intelligence, and I want you people, the next time that you vote, get rid of Judge Burt and get rid of Judge Fuhry. Let them go back to chasing ambulances or whatever they do, Social Security, whatever, selling out the rights. Thank you. Stay conscious, people. Wake up.